Look at this poster. I fell for this poster so hard. I don't know why I thought this was going to be a thriller. This is not a thriller. This is Palmer. Palmer is directed by Fisher Stevens, who is like the busiest man in Hollywood that you probably would recognize, just not the name. He's in like 50 movies as an actor. He's directed a couple Hollywood movies and then won an Oscar for The Cove. This stars Justin Timberlake, Juno Temple, everyone's favorite grandma, June Squibb, and then the cutest kid. His name is Ryder Allen. This is apparently his first movie ever, and we will probably see a lot more of him because he's great. Justin Timberlake plays Eddie Palmer, who just got out of prison for reasons that you'll find out later in the movie. They kind of tease here and there why he was in jail for a long time, but he's out, comes back to his hometown in Louisiana, very small town, and he just tries to live life. He comes back home with his grandma. Across the street is maybe a 6 or 7-year-old boy named Sam, and his parents abandon him constantly. And so Justin Timberlake's grandmother, it's normal for them to adopt him, basically. Like, hey, your parents aren't home, so you can live with us. We'll feed you. We'll take you to school, blah, blah, blah. I knew nothing about this movie coming in. Based off of the poster, by just me looking at it, I was like, oh, I guess this is a thriller. He's going to punch some people in the face. Nope. Nope. No. This is a family drama about Palmer kind of figuring out what he wants to do with his life while taking care of Sam. It tries to be a tearjerker. Depending on how many movies you've seen, it will make you cry, but this is a very familiar movie. The first 2 acts is just character development and people getting to know these kids and parents, and then it turns into a courtroom drama, but not a good one. And Palmer is the exact same. Now, I will say, Justin Timberlake is great in this movie. There's scenes in this movie where I'm like, oh my God, Justin Timberlake can act. Like he's great in movies where he's kind of himself. He's very charismatic. He's funny. It's hard not to like Justin Timberlake. And this is very different for him, where he's a hardened guy. He's trying to come out of his shell, and Sam, the little boy, helps him come out of his shell. And they both, like, the character development in this movie is great, where both of them turn into different people by the end of the movie, which this movie's fantastic at. It's just the story is, we've seen it before, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just got to think, oh, it's January. And apparently this is the second biggest movie that Apple TV Plus has released, and my phone's going off. Landlines, remember those? I'll wait. Okay, cold callers are done. This is the second biggest movie that Apple TV has released, which is probably just because of Justin Timberlake, and also what other movies have come out besides the Beastie Boys and the Tom Hanks movie. The things that make this movie different from the 15 other ones that are almost identical is the themes, which is he likes to play princess rather than football, and they're in a small town in Louisiana, and he gets bullied, and Palmer eventually realizes, hey, it's okay if this little boy wants to dress up as a princess and go to princess camp rather than play football. That's who he is. And it's refreshing to see that, because it plays on that, where all of his buddies, like all of Justin Timberlake's friends and Sam's classmates, bully them for letting him do that. Like, Justin Timberlake's just trying to be a good dad. Also, it feels its length big time. Apparently, it's only 110 minutes. It felt like almost 3 hours, because the movie turns into something completely different from the first 2 acts. The parents come back, spoiler alert, and they fight for custody over the boy, because his parents clearly have no right to have a child, and Palmer wants to have his kids back, but because he's on parole, he can't technically become a guardian. And then it's this big lawyer mumbo jumbo that just sinks the movie. But it was already kind of heading down anyways, because the movie is basically over by this point. Like, Palmer and Sam are completely different people. It's cute, it's sweet, they love each other. And then courtroom drama. This is arguably Justin Timberlake's best role. It's just a shame that the rest of the movie is meh. This is a quintessential 6 out of 10. It's fine. The performances are good. Story is okay, but we've seen it before. It's way too long, but there's good stuff here and there, and it's very cute. And it might make you cry depending on how many movies you have seen, because, again, this is very similar to other movies, but it may work on you. And if you have Apple TV Plus, this is like the third movie you can watch. There's not a lot on there right now, but maybe over time it'll get better.